What's up, YouTube? It's me, Zenith Intellect, and I'm back with my second video. And the title of my second video is going to be called Toxic Masculinity, Toxic Femininity, more like toxic people. So before we get into it, let's go into the definition of toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity is thus defined by adherence to traditional male gender roles that restrict the kinds of emotions allowable for boys and men to express, including social expectations that men seek to be dominant, the alpha male, and limit their emotional range primarily to expressions of anger. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the definition of toxic femininity. And it reads as follows. Toxic femininity is a term used by men's rights advocacy activists to contract a false equivalence between toxic masculinity, a manifestation of patriarchy that both harms men and causes men to be violent and aggressive against women and occasionally other men, and patriarchal limitations on women's gender. So there you have it for those that don't know or aren't up to speed on the definition of toxic masculinity and toxic femininity, which in my opinion I think is just pretty much a bunch of PC bullcrap, and PC meaning politically correct, and that's just my opinion. It's like it's just politically correct bullcrap, because I don't believe in toxic masculinity and I don't believe in toxic femininity neither. But I believe that we just have toxic people in general. We have toxic people. It's not necessarily narrowed down to just men being toxic and trying to be over masculine, or bringing on a heavy dose of the machismo and whatnot, because in today's society they expect for men to be sensitive and emotional. Not to say that there's anything wrong with a man being emotional at times or being sensitive to like other people's needs and whatnot. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's not like they gotta like narrow it down for a man to just simply, as if I have to use the MGTOW talk or MGTOW slang, blue pill, I'll be a blue pill man, a blue pill male, which is what they would term as a simp. So it's okay in my opinion for a man to be sensitive to the needs of to women or children or even other men per se, but you don't have to. I don't believe men have to walk around and have to be like weak and watered down versions of themselves just to appease society, or just to try to walk on eggshells and try not to hurt nobody's feelings. Just be a weak watered down man, or as I mentioned before, if I'm using the MGTOW slang of being a blue pill male, being a simp, versus being a red pill male, which would be an alpha male. But see, that's something I could touch up on a later date. I'm going to move on, and even with toxic feminism or femininity. I'm sorry, toxic femininity. I don't believe in that neither, Because I mean, it's just like I mentioned, you got some toxic men out there, but you got toxic women, you got toxic men, toxic women. But like I say, all in all, I just believe that there's just toxic people in general. You know, and it pretty much, even with toxic femininity, you know, you got some aggressive women out there. You got some type A type females out there and whatnot, or as some like men will believe that you got women out there that try to act overly masculine or trying to act like a man, and so on and so forth. And you do got a couple of females out there like that, but not all. But I'm not trying to make a generalization and say that all females are like that. I said some. Yeah, I ran across some, you know, type A type females or whatever. But moving on, it's just like people in general are toxic. You got, like I said, you got toxic men, you got toxic women, and whatnot. And you know, before I get moving on, I'd like to just bring up or interject this particular scripture, which I think would could fit this subject better in reference to talking about toxic people. Because as I just said, I don't believe in the political correctness definitions of toxic masculinity and toxic femininity, but I just believe that people in general are toxic. You know, well, people are toxic. You got toxic men and toxic women. You know, you just people in general, or people are toxic. Not necessarily just saying putting that down to one particular sex or gender. But anyways, I'm going to get to this scripture, which comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and the 33rd verse. Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners. So basically, it's like, okay, if you surround yourself with toxic people, because sometimes people, you know, you can know somebody is toxic, but you still choose to keep company with them, knowing that you probably need to cut yourself off or cut people like that out of your life, but you choose to say, hey, you know what? I know that you're a drug dealer. I know you sell drugs. I know you sell death and whatnot, and you're a known drug dealer, but I'm still going to hang out with you. I'm still going to chop it up with you. You know, I'm still going to keep company with you, even though I know what you do. You know, you sell drugs, you put them to sell death, and if needs be, you kill people or have people killed if needs be. And instead of saying, hey, I need to separate myself from a person like you or from your activities, is some people just decide to say, hey, I'm going to stick with the drug. I'm going to continue on hanging out with the drug dealer. I'm going to continue on hanging out with the gangbanger, or I'm going to continue on keeping company with an alcoholic, someone who's an alcoholic. And it's like, why would you want to surround yourself with people like that? Because you know what's going to happen if you keep company with and I'm just using like the drug dealer, the gangbanger, or alcoholic and whatnot for an example. You keep company with people like that, you're going to start taking in their characteristics. You're going to start absorbing their behavior, and you're going to start finding yourself behaving just like them. You taking in the toxic personalities. You taking in their toxic environment. You hang around someone who's a liar. You hang around them enough and choose to keep company with them enough, you're gonna find yourself lying. You're gonna find yourself telling lies. You're gonna find yourself or just doing stuff that's probably out of character because you keep company with toxic people. So it's not necessarily keep linking up with, I guess, go back to what I was saying, like toxic femininity, toxic masculinity. No, you got toxic people. So yeah, you keep hanging around, drug dealers, knowing that their lifestyle what their lifestyle entails, or you keep hanging around a game banger or alcoholic or just someone toxic in general. They don't even have to have a really bad vice. They could just be a cancer. They could just be a really toxic, wicked, nasty person. And I know people like that. Like, everything is, especially on my job when I go to work. There's a couple of my coworkers. Everything could be going great. Everything could just be going fine. And it's like, okay, the morale is up, the production is up, the camaraderie is off the chart, off the Richter scale. And then all of a sudden that one particular co-worker comes to work, clocks in or whatever, and everybody's demeanor just change. It's just like that toxic, you can just feel the negative energy emanating out of them and into the atmosphere. You can just feel that toxic, energy coming out of them. Everything they say is negative. They're just full of negativity. They don't never have anything positive to say. They're pretty much a pessimist. There's no ounce of an optimist in them. It's just like, they just suck the life out of everywhere they go. And I got coworkers like that. But getting back to that, to 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 33, I think that scripture fits this topic perfectly. Like I said, be not deceived, evil communications corrupt good manners. So if you're a relatively good person, you try to stay out of trouble, you try to do what's right, you try to treat people with respect, you try to pass on that positive energy, or positive vibes. You try to be on the right frequency. But you hang around people that's full of toxicity and negative vibes or bad energy, you stay around them long enough, you're going to take in that energy too. You're going to end up taking in that negative energy, and the positive vibes going to end up turning into negative vibes. And then you're going to find yourself getting caught up in doing in negative behavior patterns. Just saying negative things and whatnot, and just being a pessimist, and basically just having pretty much a defeatist mentality. Being around people like that, you could take in their characteristics. You could take in their behaviors or their outlook on life. Being around them enough. That's why you got to do what you can, and that's why God in particular, in 1 Corinthians, He's saying that not to be deceived. That good communications corrupt good evil communications corrupt good manners. Yeah. So stay away from people that's wicked and toxic, because they're going to corrupt you. That's what's good in you. You be around them long enough, they're going to take that good out of you, and it's going to be replaced with bad. Whatever you work so hard to do to be a good person, you be around toxic people long enough, they're gonna take that right out of you, and it's gonna corrupt. You're gonna get corrupted. You're gonna get tarnished. So it's just it's a good idea that if you can help it, which I'm quite sure you can, because I feel that everyone have a choice, to just don't be around toxic people if you can help it. Then I know in a place of employment, you can't help that, I guess, when it comes to a place of employment, when it comes to you having to work a 10-hour, 12-hour, or 8-hour shift, you're going to have to pretty much deal with that that co-worker until it's time for you to get off the clock. Or you could be like, take an even drastic measure and say, you know what, I'm going to try to see if I can find me another job. But just because you find you another job, that don't mean that the grass is going to be greener on the other side, as far as you thinking you're going to get away from a toxic co-worker, because you might get to your next job and then there'll be another toxic co-worker waiting for you, or it might even be 2 or 3 toxic co-workers waiting for you. So and so it's like, I know in some situations we all find ourselves in a situation where we just got to tolerate this person for 8, 10, 12 shifts, or do whatever we can to just not be around them. And if we got to run across that coworker, just keep it professional and keep it business, and then keep it moving. But yeah, I mean, And you know what too? You know what? There's another place you can find toxic people, and some people might be surprised, but you can find toxic people. Toxic people is in church or churches. I mean, everybody that goes to church don't want to be saved. You got people. You got people in church that are toxic and wicked. You know. And that ties, I think, also what 1 Corinthians chapter 15:33 definitely really ties in well with that too. Because yeah, you even got toxic people in the church. Think about it. If there was toxicity in heaven, which that toxicity was the devil. If there was toxicity in heaven, then there definitely could be toxicity or toxic people in the church, in the body of Christ. And I could tell you where the most poisonous and the most toxic person in the whole church is located 9 times out of 10, but not 9 times out of 10, the pulpit. And I'm talking about the false prophet, because if you got a false prophet in your pulpit that's posing as a pastor or a preacher or an apostle or whatever title he decided to take on, and he's up there spewing false doctrine throughout the congregation, he's poisoning everybody. The whole church, if you want to call it that, because if a false prophet is running it, it's not a church, it's a den of iniquity. But if you got that false prophet up there speaking false doctrine, that he's poisoning the people are being poisoned, they're being tainted. And that's the worst thing, that's one of the scariest things, or the worst people you definitely could be around, especially when it comes to your salvation, it comes to your spirituality, is being you got a false prophet for a preacher. He's not even teaching you the truth. He's teaching lies, and those lies going to end up get you put in hell if you don't find out in time that what the doctrine he's preaching is false. But some people know that the doctrine is false, and they're fine with it, and they want to sit in and keep taking in that poison. But I'm just using that as an example. I'm not going to harp on it for too long. But yeah, the false prophet, that could be like the most, to me, in my opinion, the most toxic person in the church. I mean, you got some saints in there that's toxic and just plain evil and wicked, and they smile in your face or tell you praise the Lord or greetings or whatever. But you know what? They pray for you. They pray for you, all right. They pray for your downfall. So it's not that they really pray for you. They just pray on you, and they want your downfall. They don't want you to be successful in this life or even the next. You know, because they're so full of wicked and contempt, and they're so caustic. They're supposed to be your brother or sister in Christ, and they don't even want to see you make it. They don't want to see you make it in this life, and they don't want to see you make it in the next life. So they're just as bad as that false prophet up there preaching false doctrine. The doctrine he's preaching is not sound. So he's just filling you up with poisoning your spirit, and then you taking on all these bad and characteristics, because you're going off the lies that he's telling you. But moving on. So yeah, I mean, I just believe in people are toxic in general, and you know, if you at the point to, or you have the ability to cut and sever people like that out of your life, then please do it. Because the longer you keep them in your life, the longer you keep them around or keep them in your circle, they're going to stink it up. They're going to stink it up. I mean, they're already full of toxicity, of negative energy, negative vibes. They're pessimists. They don't want to be, they just don't want anything good for you. You can say, you can't tell them, hey, I just got a promotion. Oh, really? Oh, okay. They won't even say congratulations. They just like, oh, you got a promotion? And then they hate to hear that. They hate to hear that you got a promotion, and that it's like now you making more money, and they're not making, they're not hardly making any money. They're living paycheck to paycheck, or they're barely able to make it. But it's like, you got a promotion. It's like, dang, and they don't want that, because they don't. And you know, some people some people probably want to see you do good, but they don't want to see you do better than them. And then you got those people that's like, they don't want to see you do good at all. So you can't tell them things like, I got a promotion, and you like, and there's some situation, you know, even with women, you say what you tell them, hey, I'm pregnant, you know, I'm pregnant, I'm expecting, I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to be a mother. They don't want to hear that. It's like, you're pregnant. Like, dang, they in their mind, they're secretly hoping you lose the baby, or the baby had to end up getting aborted for whatever reason. That's what they want. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that you got pregnant, especially if they can't get pregnant. Especially if they can't get pregnant, or the fact that no man just don't want to hook up with them to give them no man don't even want to hook up with them to give them the seed in order to get pregnant. They don't want to even, no man don't even want to deal with them. You know, you got some, I mean, toxic women out there. Some, I'm not saying that all women out there are toxic, and I'm not going to necessarily just narrow it down to a particular race. You got all, I think in every race of woman, you got toxic women in those races, but that don't represent all the women in the race. I'm just saying some. Just like with men, you got men in all races that are toxic, but that's not all the men necessarily are toxic. You got a couple of rotten apples in both sexes. So yeah, you might have some woman they get all bitter, and they end up getting a stink face about making a stink face about the fact that, like, oh, she's pregnant, but she can't, because she can't get pregnant, or nobody don't want to put seed in her to get her pregnant, or for it, you know. And then, you know, somebody might hear that you getting a new house or whatever, or they see you driving around in a new car. You know, they see you driving around in a Beamer, or the Range Rover, or the Lexus, you know, the Mercedes or whatever, and they don't like to see you. They don't like to see you riding around in a nice car, living in a nice house. You're living in a nice house, you know, a $400,000 house, and they still living in their parents' basements. But that's not your fault. That's on them. See, that kind of goes back to the first video that I did called Maverick. And if you haven't checked it out yet, you need to. That was my first video, and it was titled Maverick. But moving along, yeah, I'm saying if you can separate yourself from toxic people, definitely do it. You know, it's just toxic people in general. This this toxic masculinity, this toxic femininity. It's just you know, politically or PC or politically correctness bullcrap. You know, they expect for us to walk on eggshells and say, please, you know, just be nice and polite and to everybody, and don't hurt anybody's feelings, or don't really give him any real constructive criticism. Just, you know, keep everything watered down or sugar coated. But yeah, I don't buy that bull crap about toxic masculinity or toxic femininity. I just believe that there's toxic people. Let's just put it that way. There's toxic people. You know. And like I said, I had my share of running across toxic women and toxic men. But that's when I say that if you got the situation where you can like cut those people out of your life, please do. Because you don't gain anything keeping toxic, negative people around you. Because say if you got motivations to try to step, you know, you got goals you want to accomplish, or you try to accomplish, They're the one that's going to be in your ear that's going to tell you well, it can't be done. You're not going to be able to do it. Just like right now, like me, I'm trying to give this YouTube thing a try, and this is like my second video. But if I would have listened to negative or toxic people, they would have told me, nah, Ken, don't even worry about trying to upload or put in the videos on YouTube. Nobody's going to listen. You're not going to get any viewers. Nobody's going to support you, and you'll probably stay at like 10 or 7 views, and you're not going to be able to make it on YouTube. But I think differently. See, that goes back to having that maverick mentality, that maverick mindset. And like I said, if you want to know more about that, the maverick mentality or the maverick mindset, then check out my first video. And if you look it up, the title of it is Maverick. But moving along, yeah, the toxic people would tell me, no, Ken, don't upload anything on YouTube. Don't do any videos. If I would listen to those people, I wouldn't be sitting in front of you right now broadcasting this video. So yeah, toxic people are everywhere. They're at your job. They're at your house of worship. Whether you choose to go to a synagogue or a mosque or a church, which of course we will. If you don't know that the church is really the body of the people. The people is the ones that really make up the church. The church per se isn't really a building. Because when Jesus do come back, for those that do believe, I know there's people out there that don't believe in Jesus Christ, or they don't believe in God, or they think that the Bible is a fairy tale. But I'm a believer, but in my opinion, like I say, when Jesus come back, I know he's not coming back for a building. He's coming back for a people that's spotless and without blemish. But anyways, like I say, even wherever you choose to worship, the mosque, the synagogue, or the church per se, or wherever, there's toxic people there too. So yeah, there's toxic people even in your place of worship. Or you going to school, you going to college or whatever, there's toxic people in your classroom. You might be surprised, even the professor might end up being the toxic person, or being the person that's full of bad vibes, the pessimist. But yeah, like I said, toxic people at your place of employment, toxic people at your place of worship, toxic people where you go to school at. And there's even toxic people in your family, your own family members. Your own mother or father might be a toxic person. There's full of toxic energy, and very caustic. You be around every time they come into the house, everything just gets out of whack. There's no peace in there. So your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your cousins, your aunt, somebody in your family, and I'm quite sure we all do. I mean, I got some toxic people, I got some toxic family members. I do. But I do the best I can to try to stay away from them and keep my distance from them. But yeah, your own family members could be toxic and don't want you to have nothing. Now I say, don't tell them that, oh, well, God, you got a new house and you want to invite them to the housewarming. Chances are they might not even show up, because they can't stomach the fact that you got you a new house and they're living in a shack, or they're living in something, and but like I say, it's not your fault that they can't take on that maverick mentality, or take on that maverick mentality and trying to get up out of that situation. It's not your fault, but nevertheless, like I say, they don't want to hear about stuff like that. Your own family members, the ones that you think love you, you got toxic family members. So you got toxic people all over the place. You walk out there in the world, walk out there in the street, there's toxic people. And some people, a lot of those people, they don't want to, they're not making any strides, or they're not making any efforts to change. They're not making any efforts or making the strides to change. They seem like they're fine with being toxic. You know, taking the joy and peace out of the situation. Always giving you discouraging words. They're never on board with anything you want to do that's positive. They'll promote the negativity, but they won't never promote the positivity. If they see you trying to get out there and trying to do something, they always trying to hold you back, because they ain't trying to get out there and they ain't trying to do nothing. They want to see you suffer and be miserable just like them. They just a cancer. And like for the most part, when it comes to cancer, they either going to try to treat you with chemo, or treat you with chemo, or they might have to take a surgical approach, and they're going to have to cut the tumor out, or as much of it out as they can. And sometimes they got to do both. They got to hit you with chemo, then they got to go back, cut you open, and try to take out the tumor. So that's what you got to do with these people. You gotta surgically remove them. You got to cut them. You got to sever them. You got to cut them out of your life. Yeah. And I could say, when you made the chemo reference, you could have said, the chemo could have been likened to like killing them with kindness. But these toxic people, these people are so toxic and so caustic and poisonous that you could try to kill them with kindness. That don't even work. And in my opinion, I think sometimes it is to be like most of these people, some of these people, these toxic people, they just got an evil spirit. They just got an evil, wicked spirit inside of them. They got a demon in them. So, but in closing, don't fall for the hype when it comes to toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. Don't fall for the hype. It's just that people are toxic. People are toxic. That is some term that society throws out there, and for the masses, or for the sheep. I'm sorry, I didn't say that right. The sheep. I don't want y'all to think that I never took a English course or or anything like that. But yes, the sheep. That's just that's something that they put out there for them to believe. But I don't believe in toxic masculinity or toxic femininity. It's just don't like what's that rap group called? Public Enemy. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Or I think the hype goes, don't believe, because it's been like a minute since I've actually had a chance to sit down and listen to some old school hip hop. Because I don't listen to hip hop nearly as much as I used to, but every once in a while I might find myself coming across it. But if I'm not mistaken, I think it is Public Enemy. They the one that sang that song, Don't Believe the Hype. But don't believe the hype, especially when it comes to toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. Don't fall for it. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get moving, because I got some errands I gotta run. But don't forget to hit like, and don't forget to subscribe, because I know now with some of the recent changes that they've done with YouTube, people could put out videos, and even if they have hit like, or even they are subscribed to the video, for some reason they might not get a notification that the video that person put a video out. So like I say, if you can hit like, and I would really appreciate it too if you subscribe. So hopefully when I do put out content, YouTube will notify you, and you'll know that Zenith Intellect just put out another broadcast. And eventually I'm gonna work my way up to doing live streams, but I'm still a rookie. I'm still a novice at this YouTube thing. So eventually I'll be able to work. If I get enough of an audience, I'll be able to start live streaming. But for now, hopefully YouTube will give you the notifications, and you'll know that Zenith Intellect just put out another video. You know, I'm trying to get my content out there. I'm trying to be faithful, so y'all can have something to tune into, so that y'all can be educated and soak us and gain some knowledge, get some wisdom. You know, I'm not on YouTube to try to waste your time, or say, well, this is just a hobby. No, it's not a hobby. It's just my way of giving back to society. And we got enough of bull crap and foolishness in the world. We need to get more people educated and enlightened, for those that want to be educated and for those that want to be enlightened. You know, the information is out here now, but that don't mean everybody's trying to grasp it. But for those that are trying to gain enlightenment, for those that are trying to gain some wisdom, that's what I'm here for. They're trying to educate, pass out the little bit of wisdom I do have, and I'm not even charging you for it. Because they got this saying the game is to be sold, not to be told. But I'm not here to try to sell you nothing. I'm giving you this knowledge for free. I'm not making any money from this. So, when I'm going to put out more content, and I'm going to try to see if I can get another video put out by the end of this week. But if I don't, because I gotta work this weekend. But because I work 10, so it's like, I'm gonna be putting in a lot of work at my place of employment this weekend. But maybe around Monday or Tuesday or sometime earlier around next week, hopefully I'll be able to have my next video out for y'all, for those that want to listen. So anyways, in the case I hadn't mentioned it, the name of my show is called Chopping It Up with Zenith Intellect. That's what it's called, Chopping It Up with Zenith Intellect. But like I say, my name is Zenith Intellect, and hopefully not hopefully, but I will be loading up another video. And hopefully for those that decide to hit the like button or subscribe, even if you hit the dislike button, at least you listen to me, then you'll be notified. YouTube will notify you that I just dropped another gem or another video. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm out.